Bethany Manctalo here.
Hello.
Welcome to our Millwall fan show with some new voices, but the same focus. Just everything Millwall. Enjoy!
Welcome to the 23-24 series of Millwall No One Likes Us Talkings, our Millwall fan show. I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Jeff Burnige, Myles Thornton and Stan Godwin.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Well, we were saddened to hear that former Lion Tommy Baldwin passed away on Tuesday at the age of 78. Jeff Burnige shares these words with us all.
Well, I was sad to hear of the passing of Tommy Baldwin, who made a very brief stay at Millwall, didn't he? Was it 1974, something like that?
Yeah.
I think coming on loan from Chelsea, I believe the reason at the time was that something in his personal life made it a good idea, and he brought quite a famous girlfriend with him, and I met both of them upstairs at the old den. But Tommy's stay was brief, but when he went back to Chelsea, his next move, after being at Millwall for 5 games, was to Manchester United. So interesting. I don't think there's many players that have followed that trajectory. I got a feeling it was Man United when they were in that one season in Division 2. Not quite clear on that, but always sad to hear another Millwall-Chelsea connection. A sad one this time, and RIP Tommy Baldwin.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out, and although we've talked about Tommy Baldwin going to Manchester United, I mean, in actual fact, I don't know how many people would know this. When George Graham left Chelsea to go to Arsenal, and it was part exchange for Tommy Baldwin going from Arsenal to Chelsea.
Yeah, just another Millwall connection. Well, there was some great news on Wednesday night. Our Millwall under-18 squad played in the 4th round of the FA Youth Cup away to Grimsby Town at Blundell Park, which is not actually in Grimsby, is it, Jeff?
And that's in Cleethorpes.
Correct.
They are.
Yeah.
1 point to Burnige in the quiz team.
There you go. Grimsby had knocked out Nottingham Forest in the previous round and were not to be underestimated. The young Lions came away with a convincing 4-1 victory and now face Coventry City away in the 5th round. Well done, lads. Keep it up. In fact, if you're listening to the show tonight, you can listen to a Youth Cup winner. Well done. OK, for the first team, it was a 2-0 defeat away to QPR on Saturday. Jeff, if you were reporting for Maritime, as you do for Millwall Lionesses, how would you present your thoughts on Saturday's game?
I would say it was a game of two parts. The first part being 15 minutes long because QPR started like a team that had got 2 points out of 21. They looked very nervous. We were able to knock the ball around at will and it looked quite promising. But we insisted on playing the ball out from the back, although QPR's one tactic was to heavily press that. And it did cause a couple of mistakes, presenting QPR with half chances. So once they scored, it wasn't a surprise. From then on, I think everybody supporting Millwall would have been very, very disappointed with the level of our performance, particularly when we recalled the first half against Middlesbrough the previous week. Unrecognisable.
Well, thanks for that, Jeff. That sounds a comprehensive précis of what happened. Myles, how about you? Tanganga made his debut at Loftus Road. What do you make of his contribution?
I mean, he only got about 20 minutes, didn't he? But that's what you'd see from a player who hasn't played in nearly a year. But from a player that hasn't played in nearly a year, he looked decent, didn't he? And actually, I'm looking forward to seeing him when he's back fully fit. Really looking forward, in fact.
Well, that's good news. And he did have a bit of pace and power. Perhaps he'll get used to his teammates during this last week. And we'll see where we go from there. Now, Stan, last week you commented on Sarkic. His performance at Loftus Road had fans calling for him to be substituted by Bart and subsequently be dropped and even sold. What was your take on these assertions?
Well, I can't say what I would really say in the language I want to say it, so I'll have to sort of temper it down a bit. But I mean, it's the usual sort of nonsense, isn't it? I mean, and I saw the goals later on. The second one, he spilt it. Now, all of a sudden, we've got to drop him, or it's now being suggested we've got to sell him. Right? I mean, it's absolute nonsense, right? I mean, tell me a goalkeeper that has not spilled a ball. I can remember watching Tony Warner do it. I've seen David Ford do it. I even see Casey Keller do it on one occasion. Yeah. Well, I just really don't know what's the matter with them. I mean, all I'm hoping is we're not going to suddenly start getting down the road that we did with Long. That was horrendous. I mean, I remember on one occasion walking out of the ground after a friendly pre-season, sit up, and there was these two blokes, but all of a sudden they was turning around and saying, well, you know, he's got to go Long, and with his goalkeepers in the Division 1 and 2, we should be paying about £1 million for them. They're far better than him. Well, 3 weeks later or whatever it was, Sarkic comes and we paid that. Into this bloke again, I should imagine he'd be saying the same thing about Sarkic that he said about Long. I mean, it's nonsense, right? And what happens if Bart comes in and he drops a clanging in? So what do we do with him then? Perfectly honest, these people need to get a grip. If we spent less time digging out these players than we should do getting behind them, things might be a little bit more different.
Can I just say, it was a goalkeeping error, full stop, end of. Goalkeeping error. I back him to have a good game this week.
I think we all do. Thanks for that, Jeff. Thanks for that, Stan. Let's move on. We'll take a break there and hear about our sponsor, G&M Motors. Jess Tuffield.
Hi, this is Jess Tuffield from G&M Motors. Operating from a modern and purpose-built facility in Milton Road, Gravesend, G&M Motors offers a complete range of new Honda cars and services. As well as new Hondas, we have an extensive range of used cars, including ex-Motability cars from a variety of manufacturers. Specialising in new Honda cars, G&M Motors has been retailing quality new and used vehicles to the people of Kent and South East London for over 4 decades. We have been a Honda dealership since 1972 and are the country's longest serving supplier of this renowned marque. Conveniently sited just 2 miles from the A2, 10 miles from the M25 and Dartford Crossing, visitors to our showroom are assured a warm welcome from our experienced and friendly staff. Our facilities include an on-site workshop capable of providing full vehicle servicing and repairs, as well as an extensive parts department offering genuine Honda parts and accessories. The expertise of our skilled mechanics is not limited to just Hondas, but extends to most makes and models of motor vehicles. Whatever your motoring needs, visit us at G&M Motors today. The newly extended hours of our G&M headquarters means that you can contact us from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Saturdays. To contact us, call us today on 01474 365 026.
Thank you, Jess. Debbie Julian's here. Don't forget to call Jess on 01474 365 026. G&M Motors have been dear friends of the Julians family for over 4 decades now. From my dad Lenny to me, Debbie, Lions together.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Myles Thornton and Stan Godwin. Many thanks to our sponsors, G&M Motors. Why not go along and see what they have on site? Our first guest on the show will reach a landmark in his life this year as he turns in a half-century of years. His footballing career commenced with becoming a member of the Millwall Youth Academy, where he captained the team to bring home the second FA Youth Cup to the Den in 1991. At 18, Mick McCarthy brought him into the Millwall first team, and that was in 1993. He played as a midfielder and is most fondly remembered, in fact, almost given legendary status, for an outstanding goal he scored against Arsenal, which put the Gunners on the back foot and on their way to defeat at Highbury in an FA Cup replay. By 1995, he moved on to the first two Uniteds, Sheffield and then Southend. In 2000, he continued his footballing career in the non-league permanently with Kingstonian and concluding at Tooting and Mitcham in 2011. Non-league management began when, as a player, he was also manager at Haywards Heath. He also coached in the non-league and at Brighton and Hove Albion. But before that, he also slipped off to Marbella to set up an academy, but then played for San Pedro in the Spanish third tier. Recently, he ended his last managerial role at Eastbourne Borough. We're delighted to welcome back that Millwall fan, Mark Beard, to the show. Hello, Mark.
How you doing, boys? You all good?
Yeah, all right, Mark. Yeah.
Hello, Mark.
Good.
Hi, Mark.
How you doing, Jeff?
Great,
Yeah.
Beardy, thanks. And you?
Yeah, all good, thanks, mate.
You've made Jeff's day there, I can tell you. There's no doubt about that. So, Mark, before I pass you over to the team, you've not stopped in football for more than 30 years, really. But how did it all start? And how did you become a member of Millwall youth team?
Well, I was at Wimbledon from the age of 5, actually. So I was only 5 years old when I was playing in the under-10 team, Sutton Wanderers.
Yeah.
I got picked up by Mark Phillips. So I was at Wimbledon to 14. But Millwall had watched me a couple of times. Bob Pearson got me over. On my debut for the under-14s of Millwall, I scored a hat-trick against Leyton Orient. They signed me literally on the back of that game. So I was there, really, from 14 to the age of 20.
Goodness. So that years in football goes all the way back to almost 45 years, doesn't it? Goodness.
Well, I actually played my first game when I was 4 in the under-10 team.
Oh,
so
hold up. 46 years then.
Yeah, 46, yeah.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks.
Mark, it's Jeff here. I don't want to go any further without mentioning your dear dad, Mickey Beard. Beardy to one and all, 2 years since he passed.
2 years in April, wasn't it?
He hasn't been forgotten here, I can tell you, but
No.
time passes so quickly, but he did a fantastic job as a youth recruiter for Millwall, even if he started off by recruiting his own son.
Actually, I got him the job, mate, because I was actually at Millwall, and then he got a job of scouting because we had such a good Sunday team and so many good players that they asked my dad to set up Sheen Lions. So it had a centre which got Stephen Reed and a few other players from there. So I actually got my dad the job.
Oh, well,
Industrious, without a doubt, Mark.
Oh, yeah.
he was a very, very good friend of mine, a lovely guy, and commiserations again. I was at the funeral, as you know, Mark.
Cheers, Jeff.
And,
appreciate that.
many commiserations. I'm sure there are Millwall fans listening that will join me in that. Now, this FA Youth Cup win, which was 1991, and as Eamonn said, it was the second time we'd won the FA Youth Cup. You were captain, and you and your teammates brought a wonderful second FA Youth Cup to the club, which is a great achievement, let's be fair. Win it once is great, but win it twice, fantastic. Tell us the story.
Yeah, well, I can't go on without mentioning Tom Walley, who, without a shadow of a doubt, is the best youth team coach, I think, like one of the best ones, not just like that time, I think of all time, because what he did and the players he got through and the players he produced is absolute phenomenal. You had to be made of stern stuff with him because honestly, he was so hard. He wouldn't get away with it these days. Like, he used to punch you when things weren't going right. He was screaming in your face. But the things like they get like so many injuries now with players is that because they got these strength and conditioning coaches because they're not robust enough. They're not. They don't do the stuff we did. We'd be training for 3 hours every single day. And look at the players he produced. So we had a fantastic team, and it was the 3 years. I was the 3 years I had like in and around Tom. We had that. Then we went to the FA Cups. We obviously won the Youth Cup. Then the year after we got to the FA Cup Youth Cup semi-final, beat the Fergie Babes at Old Trafford. And then we won the Southern Junior Floodlit Cup at Arsenal at Highbury 6-3. So Tom Walley was like phenomenal. So he's got to take all the credit because we had good players, but he just got the best out of every single one of us.
Fantastic.
Miles here, Mark. That night at Highbury against Arsenal, your goal and the audacious shot from Mark Kennedy towards the end of the game that beat Arsenal and the England keeper David Seaman. That night must be high amongst your Millwall memories, but what other high points loom out large for you during your time at Millwall?
Yeah, obviously, the Arsenal game was the real highlight, and that's the one all the fans remember, still being shown on TNT or BT, whatever it is, or Sky Sports every year, and the classic FA Cups. So that game was unbelievable. The Chelsea game next was, mate, I've never played an atmosphere like it, especially the one at the Bridge. And to this day, like, that's probably the most mental game I've ever been in terms of atmosphere. It was crazy. We didn't get home till like 3 o'clock in the morning either, because our first coach was bricked by the Chelsea fans. Our replacement coach was bricked, and we had to wait for a third one. It was a fantastic night. But I remember the Nottingham Forest game, where we beat them in the Carling Cup, wherever it was then, but they was third in the Premier League, Forest. They had Stuart Pearce, Dan Collymore, they had unbelievable players, and Mick would have lost his job, I think, Jeff, if he lost that game. Funny story about that game, on the Saturday, so we lost to Port Vale 2-1 last minute, and Mick didn't come in to do his team talk after, and Ian Evans went to go find him, couldn't find him anywhere. The lights had gone out, he was sat on the bench, he had never left the bench. He's obviously contemplating, like, obviously resigning or maybe getting a sack, but when we was on the coach on the way home from Port Vale, we thought, like, we've let him down. He said, right, we're all going out tomorrow night. They're all going tomorrow to Covent Garden. Get your clothes on, we're going out. We're going to have a good drink and team bonding. So we went and got absolutely hammered, honestly. We got home about 1 o'clock. Next day we trained on a Monday, travelled up to Forest on a Tuesday, and we beat them 3-1. And we went on a hell of a run after that, hell of a run. That was a bit of genius of Mick. Like, he knew he was in trouble. And I seriously think he was going to resign after that Port Vale game. I think we dropped into about the bottom 4 or 5 in the league. So to go then beat Forest. So we beat Arsenal that year, Forest, Chelsea. The killer game was the QPR game.
Yeah.
But we didn't deserve to lose that. And Damien Webber, I still don't know to this day what he's doing handballing that.
No, unreal.
But, they're my favourite games, all them. But I mean, there were some good league ones as well, like the Derby game when Derby at the time were chucking all the money in, those favourites to win the league, and we beat them 4-1. And I had a really good game. I think John Goodman or John Kerr actually got a hat trick, or one of them did. But being a Millwall fan as well, every single game was special to me. I'll be running about on the pitch before the game, singing a song under my breath, like Let Them Come. It's just a dream come true to play for him.
Mark, Stan here, mate.
Hello, Stan.
Your dad was a mate of mine, is it? Cause,
was he?
Yeah, because what happened was we used to play in the same football team, All Saints, in Surrey Square.
I remember I used to talk about All Saints all the time, mate.
Yeah, he played in there, and some of the other kids that was in there, I mean, most of us was all Millwall supporters. In actual fact, I didn't know this until many years later, that we played in this cup final, right? Yeah. And it was on the morning of the FA Cup final in 1969, and we lost 3-1.
You did?
Oh.
Well, I remember that okay.
So do I.
I didn't know until years later that the host of this show, Eamonn, was in the opposite team.
No way. That's
small world. Your dad was there, and you know, he was. Yeah,
he used to talk about All Saints. Like, he always used to tell me stories about him, and I used to love going to watch him play. So he played non-league for a bit, like just local teams, and he was a bus driver as well before he took up the football. And he was back then. They used to have really good, like London Underground and buses. They used to have good leagues, so I used to go watch him play for Hammersmith buses. So I used to love going watching him play. Centre forward, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Because we were good mates. And then we left school, and then we all go your separate ways, didn't we?
Separate ways, yeah. No, that's it, yeah.
Anyway, enough of that down memory lane. Right, now what the question was, you were transferred after 2 seasons with Millwall to Sheffield United. There you went to Southend, where you made your greatest number of league appearances, and then at some point later on you went down to Kingstonian in the non-league for a season, and then returned to Southend for a season. But when you was back at Kingstonian again the following season in the non-league football for about the next 10 years.
I went to Stevenage as well. I went to Stevenage after I come back from Spain, so and had a good year with them as well.
Right, yeah. During that time, how would you describe the experience of playing in the non-league over quite an extensive period as it was then?
Yeah, what I say to players now, from my experience, is that lower you go down, the harder it is. It sounds really silly because, like, when you're obviously I was used to playing at Millwall and Sheffield United. Like the Sheffield United team, I had Ian Rush up front, Dean Saunders, Paul McGrath, like Don Hutchison, Gareth Taylor. So you're playing with like literally international players. So they'll make the runs for you. And when you go to non-league, it's just a bit more like getting stuck in long balls, second balls and things like that. So you see these players that, and you see like managers when they go to Championship League One teams, like top Premier League players, when they go to manage them leagues, they can't do it. So they don't know what it's like. And they try to do the things they did as players. So it's really hard. I used it when I actually went to Kingstonian the first year. They were like are paying unbelievable money. They've just been to Wembley twice and won the trophy, and their aim was to get in the league. But that year, we got to the FA Cup fifth round, which was unbelievable. We got to the FA Trophy, I think, semi-final again, but our league form was disastrous, and we actually got relegated. And they went into administration, and it was like like one of them clubs that chased the dream to get in the league, and it all went tits up. So I see that side of it as well, which I hadn't done before. So we weren't getting paid like 2 months in a row. I'd have to, as an older pro, I'd be ringing up the PFA. So it was a really good experience, and like I knew I was going to get into coaching. So my second spell at Kingstonian, the reason I went like at 28, 29, quite young, is because they offered me a coaching role. And I knew I was, because when my dad was at Millwall, was at the Sheen Lions Centre, I was coaching then at 18. So I was coaching your Stephen Reeds and players like that, even though I was only 18 myself.
Amazing.
Mark, it's Jeff here again. You mentioned briefly your year or so at Stevenage.
Yeah.
But very modestly, I'm pretty sure I'm right. Didn't you win the FA Trophy?
Yeah, I come back from Spain, and really funny. Well, it ain't a funny story. The reason I come back, I loved it there. I set up academies playing, and a guy who's a Millwall fan, actually, Jerry Parker. He lived on my estate. He asked me to go out for a drink one night, but I was taking Claire and the kids to the airport. Woke up the next morning, had about 36 missed calls. He got shot dead. So we said in Marbella. So we said, like, we can't do this. So I started ringing around a few clubs, and actually ended up at Stevenage. They had lost their first 5 games of the season. They got me in, and I played 52 games straight. We went on a run of about 25 games unbeaten. We went from bottom to just missing out on the playoffs, but we got in the first ever competitive cup final at the new Wembley. Which was an amazing, in front of like 67,000, because they made the tickets cheaper, like £5 for kids and £10 for adults, and it was just like one of the best experiences of my life. So it really made it worthwhile coming back.
It's I've got a personal memory of that game. I was sitting in a seat alongside the steps leading up to get the cup, and I don't know if you can remember, but I got my own personal hug from you, Mark, that day.
Yeah, mate, I remember that. I remember it like it was yesterday, mate. I remember that. 100%.
That wasn't the same year that Morrow was playing, was it? Was that?
Morrow got the winner. Yeah, no, he got the winner, mate. Got the winner. Got the winner, and he got winner. Yeah.
He
scored about 38 goals that year.
Two Millwall legends there in one game there, and no wonder you won the cup.
Yeah, it was 2-0 down as well, wasn't we? Come back 1-3-2.
Who was it against?
Kidderminster Harriers.
Oh, that's brilliant. It must be another highlight in your career. But look, I want to go on and ask you about your career in coaching and management. Let's move on to your most recent period when you were manager of Eastbourne Borough. How did you find that experience, and what happened to make you leave there?
It was a bit of a rush because I got the job. There's 2 weeks to the start of pre-season. They wanted to go part-time to full-time, so I had to set up a whole full-time programme. The lads who were already at Eastbourne were part-time players and part-time contracts. I'm not going to start spouting out wages, but say if they're on £500 a week at Eastbourne part-time, they could have another part-time job, like, I don't know, PTing or school teacher, where they're also on about £500 a week. So their total wages would be £1,000 a week. By going full-time, we couldn't offer that to them. So I lost like literally 16 players overnight. So I had 2 players left over, and I had to recruit literally a whole squad. Now, the budget wasn't massive. It's probably halfway down the table, but I found it so hard getting the quality of players that we needed. So we ended up getting a lot of young players released from clubs, and I had too many. And the experienced ones I did get in, they all got injured. At one point, I had 16 injuries. We played Hendon in a trophy. I had 16 injuries. I couldn't even have a sub. And that was like you can't even make up the injuries they had. They're just so like unbelievable. So to have 16 out, I've never heard of that in football at all. But at the end, it just got hard. I'm not saying there's interfering, but they was like meddling, like always questioning my selections. And but I loved every single minute of it. I've learned so much. I'm not going to be one of them. We're going to cry and moan about it because I loved every single second on the pitch with the boys training. All the boys, I never lost the players at one point. Every single one of them was absolutely distraught when I left. But it's a results business, and I did get results.
Well, I wish you great luck with your next appointment, Mark. I hope you still got the hunger to be a manager. I'm sure you'll be a success.
Yeah, I have, mate, and I needed a little break because it did make me ill. Like it's over Christmas as well, and I was neglecting the family. Whatever I do, I throw myself 100% into it, the same way I played, and I ended up like making myself ill. So I've had a little break now, and I'm ready to go again.
Brilliant,
Mark. Sticking with your coaches, mate. Your coaching. You was a coach at Dorking, wasn't you? I want to personally ask. I watched a bunch of amateurs. What's it like being with Mark White? What's he really like? Is he like that on the cameras like he is in real life?
Yeah, mate. What you see is what you get. That's him. He's the most honest bloke I've ever met. He tells you as it is. Like the players he's got, he's the most loyal man you'll ever meet. They've got a squad of about 28, mate. He just can't get rid of any. There's like 2 or 3 that have not played for about 2-3 years because he loves them, and I can't speak highly enough of him. And do you know what? Everyone says he's like David Brent, but he's tactical knowledge, and he's the way he sees it. No one gets 12 promotions in 20 years if you don't know what you're talking about. And what he's done is it will never be done again.
Yeah, it's the fact he's not even got any badges as well.
No,
and he won't get it. Really, he won't get them.
No, never. He'd never go on any course. So, but what he did, I did all the coaching. I did all all that stuff, analysis, and what he does, he picks the team and he gets the players in. So we worked really well. We got promoted into the National League, which was unbelievable. And the game where we beat Ebbsfleet in the final was one of the most highlights of my career. Anyone who's at that game, we had a throw in on the halfway line. I asked the ref how long. He said 9 seconds. We didn't throw it forward. We threw it back. I was like screaming, "Get it in the box!" They went across the back. I was like, "Oh my god, they're not going to score." And Barry Fuller's whipped it in, got headed back post, and we scored with literally a second left to make it 2-2 to go to extra time. And once that happened, there was only one winner. But just you can't write moments like that, and that's why football's such a great game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Mark, I understand when you come to the Den on Saturday. I understand you will be at the Den on Saturday. Sorry.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts ahead of the game against Preston North End?
Well, to be fair, I've done a little bit of research on it. Like I looked at Y-Scout tonight, which does all the stats on that. Like both teams are in a bad spell. Like Mill have lost the last 3 on a spin. Not been great at home either. There's chopping and changing formations, which isn't always a good thing. But Preston are exactly the same. They've only won 1 in 6. They're the same. Like one game they're 4-3-3, next game they're 3-5-2. So you could tell that both managers don't know their best formation yet, or probably their best lineup. And he's under a bit of pressure, I think, Ryan Lowe. But I was interested in watching the goals back. Like Millwall conceded 3 of their last 4 goals have been from set pieces, from corners. Not really creating much, and the other goals really from crosses. So they're not like getting as many, like QPR game, 3 shots they had like the whole game, which is quite poor. But normally you're getting over 10. But watching Preston, the goals they conceded, they're very, very slow at the back. And like the teams who have beaten recently have just got that pace down the side of them. So if we do that and on the front foot and attacking, I think we'll get a win.
Now, what I was going to ask you was, now you was involved in it. Is there many teams in who you come across, or clubs rather, that in your division, would I be right in saying that most of them, they play the modern way, i.e. out from the back?
I mean, everyone would like to do that because it's nice on the eye, but
yeah,
it depends on who you're playing as well. So I started at Eastbourne. We was playing out from the back, but like I don't know if you've ever been to Eastbourne. On any day, it could be the hottest day in the world, and it would be 40-mile-an-hour winds. I was thinking, God's sake, we can't play. So I rang up Mickey Bill, who's the Sunderland manager now, and like got his advice, like, what do you stick to that principle plan out even if it's not right to do it? And he went, no, just have a plan B and a plan C. So you got to have 3 plans. If you're playing out for the back and you keep getting caught, like I've seen a few of the goals Millwall have been conceding at the back where they're a bit hesitant, keepers coming out and stupid things like that. They've got to be in control, and they've got to have different plans. If the team are pressing the life out of you, just miss them out, because what will happen is they'll start dropping then. So you've got to mix it up.
Right. Well, okay, that's fair enough.
Well, I heard you say what we need to do. Do you going to give us a prediction for Saturday, Mark?
I think we'll win, mate. I really do. If we'll win if we get at them. If we bit nervous because we ain't won the last 3, then it's going to be a tough game. But if you remember the game at Preston, I thought we went 1-0 down early, didn't we? But I thought it was different class. That was one of the best performances I've seen Millwall this year. But I think we'll win 3-1.
That'll do nicely. Perhaps we'll get an Obafemi hat-trick. That'd even be better, wouldn't it?
Well, I spoke to Andy Myers tonight because I told him I'm going to be at the game, and said, how you finding it? And he said, he's really enjoying it. He said the results haven't reflected some of the performances, and they're just obviously bad run of results, but he's really enjoying it. So I've told him I'm the lucky charm. We don't lose when I'm at the Den, so we're going to win.
That's it. Say no more.
Hopefully that continues then, Mark.
I don't go away no more, because every time I go, we're absolutely rubbish. QBR, Norwich, not doing it again.
Okay. Well, all I can say then, it's great to speak with you again, Mark. It's always a pleasure to have you join us. We wish you
anytime, mate.
all the best, and look forward to hearing from you again before too long. All the best.
Yeah, hopefully see you Saturday, boys.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Beardy. See you Saturday.
See you later, Miles. See you.
Yeah,
Stan.
cheers,
see
Mark.
you, Jeff. Thanks a lot, Eamon. See you guys,
mate. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was nice, wasn't it? Old Mark Beard's a nice man. Lovely fella. Even calls Jeff son. So, I mean, that's really kind of him, I think.
He's proper Millwall, that boy.
Is he? Oh, you would say
he's proper Millwall.
Like he said.
Yeah. Okay, let's hear from Ellis Barr. Keep us posted on what you're up to, Ellis. Ellis, where are you?
Hello, Ellis here, and I'm glad to be back talking about Millwall. I know many have watched my videos, so you will all know that I don't wear splints as much anymore. Thanks for your support along the way. It is now time to hear what all the Millwall teams are up to. Come on, Millwall!
Yeah, come on, Millwall. Thanks as always, Ellis. You do a great job for us. I don't doubt that. Anyway, I caught up with Paul Loading, Millwall Romans and Pride General Manager, and let's hear what Paul actually updates us with this week.
Hi, it's Paul Loading from the Millwall Romans with a very, very quick update for the week. Last week, both teams were on a break. We had a bit of a friendly match against 2 teams, mixed teams, on Sunday morning down at St Paul's. This weekend, Pride are facing Titans down at St Paul's. They're at the 1 o'clock kickoff, and Romans are hosting Phoenix in the LUL Cup. First round of the Cup has just been drawn, facing Phoenix coming over from East London, and that will be at 4 o'clock following on from the Pride game. Millwall certainly on a bit of a run of bad luck at the moment, hosting Preston this weekend. I think I'm going to have to say it's going to be 1-1.
Well, I've never known you to be so negative, Paul. You're usually throwing 3 and 4 goals in as a score for us. But anyway, if you're not going to go down to Ashford this week, you might pop along to St Paul's Stadium in Rotherhithe, and you get 2 games for the price of 1. I don't think there's any price in it. But anyway, the Romans and Pride will be there from 1 o'clock. Jeff Burnige filed a report for Maritime Radio following the Millwall Lionesses' incredible result by the fact that they defeated QPR women at home on Sunday. So let's hear what Jeff actually had to say.
Hosted National League Queen's Park Rangers at St Paul's Stadium Rotherhithe yesterday in the Capital Cup. Could they reap revenge on QPR for the men's defeat at Loftus Road on Saturday and progress to the quarter-finals of the Cup? Jeff Burnige picks up the story and speaks post-match to captain Grace Seeley and joint manager Alex Russell.
Millwall Lionesses avenged Saturday's defeat for the men away to Queen's Park Rangers with a 5-4 penalty victory over QPR women, who operate in the FA Women's National League, a tier above the Lionesses. Still depleted by injuries and with young 17-year-old goalkeeper Victoria Gmitarek continuing in goal for the illness-struck Chrissy Wiggins, they produced their best performance for some weeks after that defeat by Ebbsfleet last week. They fully deserved to go through because they only went to penalties after Queen's Park Rangers fortunately equalised to make the score 1-1 at full time with the help of a very soft penalty which nobody appealed for a trip on a Queen's Park Rangers forward. Earlier in the first half, on 32 minutes, young Clemmy Young, starting again at centre forward, was put through by under-18 colleague Ella Napper and crashed her shot against the crossbar. Fortunately, Maisie Garwood was following up to score and put Millwall 1-0 up. Young was replaced with 20 minutes to go by a debutant centre forward, also from the young under-18 team, in Maya Bethelmy, and both her and Clemmy had done really well to occupy the Queen's Park Rangers defence. But it was Gmitarek's day. When it went to penalties, you looked to the goalkeeper and she saved twice to put the Lionesses through when Ella Bailey at 4-all slotted home really confidently to put the Lionesses through. I was able to catch up with skipper Grace Seeley after the match and asked her for her thoughts. Well, that was a great game, Grace. So how did you see it?
It was a great game. It was a battle from start to finish. I think it was very even. I think both teams brought a lot to the table. The youngsters today, for me, were kind of stars of the show. That showed in our first goal. And when Clemmy kind of hit the bar, it rebounded off, and Ellen put a great ball into Maisie. So just so good to see the youngsters come in and step up and do a job for us. I think we would have really struggled without them today.
And your young goalkeeper?
And a young goalkeeper. I think we had so much confidence in her. We've seen her kind of make saves at the under-18 level, and throughout the game, we felt really comfortable playing out from the back with her. And also when we went into penalties, there was kind of full confidence in her, and ultimately she saved the penalty that went on to give us the opportunity for Ella to win us the game.
And let's hope for a home draw in the next round.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We love playing at home, so let's do it.
Thanks, Grace.
Cheers, thank you.
I was also able to catch up with joint manager Alex Russell. Alex, very pleasing today. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. Very pleasing. We limited them to very few chances. I think their goal was probably fortunate in their case. We created lots. Plenty of young blood in there today. Clemmy, Victoria, Maya, all getting on and getting involved, all contributing to the game, and just a really stand-up performance from our midfield today, which we probably lacked last week. And able to make substitutions who actually came on and took the winning penalties. Yeah, absolutely. Two of the substitutes came on, both in Shay Bennett and Ella Bailey, and both took penalty, and Ella took the winner. Thanks, Alex.
Even a bit of music at the end. Anyway, what you need to know is that Jeff was actually commended by the Maritime Radio team for that interview, despite living in a wind tunnel with Grace Seeley and Alex Russell. But
Eamon, I wanted to get that interview done on the pitch at the end of the game. Wasn't easy because everyone was up in the air with delight. But I will have to do it, I think, in one of the dressing rooms next week, because that was so windy that it wasn't easy to hear. But it was a great day. What Grace did not know then, because the draw was made on Tuesday, we did not get the home draw that she was hoping for. We've drawn Wimbledon away. When we drew QPR, that's the second highest placed team in the Cup, and our reward is to play the highest placed team in the Cup, Wimbledon. That'll be on February the 18th. More about that on another day.
Thanks for that, Jeff, and I'm pleased you got that commendation from Maritime Radio. They really enjoyed it. Wonderful stuff. Next up for the Lions is Preston North End at the Den. They come into the game on the back of a loss against Leeds and have 2 losses and 2 wins in their previous 4 league games. We're on the back of that 2-0 defeat to QPR at Loftus Road, but have 3 wins and a loss behind that. Preston sit 6 places above us on 38 points, but have a minus 12 goal deficit. Despite Preston North End being 6 points above us, we are 5-4 favourites to win the tie, whilst a draw is 11-5 and a win for them is actually 3-1. I suppose that sort of catches up with what Mark Beard had to say. Can we recover from a disappointing result at Loftus Road? Keep a clean sheet? Get a goal or more? Will the likes of Saville and Bradshaw feature? And will Obafemi make a difference? What do we reckon, team?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-0 win to Millwall, and I think Obafemi will make a difference. I think he's going to score our first goal. Genuinely backing him to score on his debut for Millwall because he's a good player, very, very pacey. But I know I always back Millwall to win, but yeah, I'm going to go 2-0, and I think I'll back Kevin Nisbet to shush the haters and get a goal.
Sounds good to me, Miles. Sounds good to me.
I think there's plenty of character in that Millwall team. It was a horror show at QPR, and I think they will bounce back because that will have really hurt them. Interesting team selection to look forward to. It was mysterious that we didn't see appearance from either Denor or George Saville. So we'll be looking at the team sheet on Saturday afternoon with some interest. 2 new signings. Whatever happens, I'm fairly confident that we'll bounce back from that game last week, and I think Millwall will win this game. I'll go for 2-0.
A shared journalist's response so far. How about you, Stan?
I was sitting here yesterday and I'd recognised the name Theo Obafemi from somewhere. And I remember him when he played for Swansea against us a couple of years ago. He was something else, this bloke, because one of the things I noticed with what he was doing is that when we had a corner against them, what they used to do was they never pulled him back. He come back into his own half by about 10 or 20 yards, and that was no more. And that's where he stayed, right, on the chance that he would get the ball knocked out of him, which they did on more than one occasion. And he was on his toes. And as Myles said, he is fast. Right, and in that game he scored a brilliant goal. Assuming he can replicate that form again, which hopefully he will do, I'm confident we're going to win the game on Saturday. I would say 3-1 or 3-0, that sort of score.
Yeah.
So no, I'm looking forward to it. I think we'll win the game.
So we're all looking forward to a few players returning, a few new faces, and it's all positive, wins galore. So let's hope that will be the case. Anyhow, we'll take a break there and hear Bethany and me talk about Clean Feed.
Bethany Manxello here, Clean Feed by Ted Robinson.
Hold up, we're talking about an online recording platform.
Okay, our Ted Robinson sponsors our online Clean Feed recording platform.
What were you thinking of?
Well, it sounded like a Parfum D'Homme Intense.
Really?
Behave. Just go online and see who else uses Clean Feed. It's a great bit of kit at a great price.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Myles Thornton and Stan Godwin. It really is a great bit of kit and is used by most of the main broadcasting companies. It's just a shame that Ted Robinson doesn't understand the advert, but never mind, that's life. Our second guest tonight is full of Millwall man and boy. He also reaches a landmark year in his following Millwall. Along with a fellow Lion, he engages in historical walks around the Isle of Dogs. You'll hear more about that too. Without further ado, let's welcome the one and only Rob Woodford to our studio. Hello, Rob.
Yeah, thanks, Eamonn. Thanks for having me on again.
All right, Rob.
Hello, Rob. Stan.
Jeff Burnige here.
Hello, Jeff. Yeah, I've got you, yeah.
Yeah. And I think Myles did mention himself.
Hello, mate, you're right.
But he's
Good evening,
breathing.
Myles.
It's great to have you on as the fan in the dugout, Rob. Firstly, was becoming a Millwall supporter your destiny or an option? And then tell us about your landmark year of following Millwall.
Well, it was my dad that took me to the Old Den in 1964, and the first game I ever saw down there was quite a historic game. It wasn't at the time, but it became a few years later. It was the opening game of a season where we played Torquay United in Division 4. You remember that? It was a 2-2 draw, and it was the first of 59 home games without defeat. I mean, we didn't know that at the time, obviously, but that occasion, I can remember up on my dad's shoulders on the halfway line watching that game, and it was goosebump territory. It really was.
So that was 64, which means how many
Which
years?
means it actually means on the opening day of the next season, that will be the anniversary. Yeah.
Wow. All those years of following
60
the line.
years. 60 years.
Only Jeff Burnige can beat that.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, he's probably been around a bit longer than me. Is that right, Jeff?
I was already a mature man when that game took place. Don't worry about that. I remember it well. 1964. I remember that very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, it was the first of consecutive promotion years, wasn't it? It was back-to-back promotions that took us from the 4th division to the 2nd division.
Well, you're good at Millwall quizzes, Rob. Cast your mind back to Millwall's right winger on the day. Who was it? And who is his famous cousin or whatever?
Or whatever.
Relation, you mean relation?
Yeah. It was Roy Dwight, related to Reg Dwight, known as Elton John. Roy Dwight played in that game.
Yeah, Reginald Kenneth Dwight, who changed his name to Elton Hercules John.
That's the one.
But then you'll have to come on my rock and roll tour as well, Jeff.
I've not done that one. I've done the Isle of Dogs tour, as you know, and I thoroughly recommend that to everybody. Very, very interesting and a good experience to be with fellow Millwall fans.
And thanks for coming, because you also gave us insight into a little story about the East End Cup. I don't know if you remember when we was in Manchester Grove. You revealed quite a lot that day, and we won't go any further than that because you're going to put that in your memoirs, aren't you?
Oh, if I ever get round to it, yes. I'll have to pass my memoirs script through the lawyers, and they might delete about 75% of it. Anyway, let's move on. You have supported Millwall for a good while, as we've just heard. Out of the very many games that you've attended, Rob, I'm like, which match is your most memorable at the Den since we moved there 30 years ago?
At the new Den? Probably a bit boring, isn't it? But I'm going to say the Huddersfield game. You know, everybody says that. It was electric that night, and we got the result we needed. And also really enjoyed a cup tie with Villa on a Friday night. I don't know why we played on a Friday night, but again, that was a electric atmosphere under the lights. Do you remember the match in question?
Yeah. Was it TV orientated?
It might have been TV.
John Marquis scored, didn't he?
Yeah.
He scored the second goal. Danny Chateau got the first goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that game. Yeah. Another big
and of
highlight.
course, you've got to remember the very first game. And I remember picking up the fanzine the following week and it had on the front cover a picture of John Smith, the late John Smith, cutting the ribbon at the new Den, looking around, saying, if only we had as many seats as this. Because I think the official attendance, the official capacity, ground capacity then was something like 20,100 and something, wasn't it? But I think we've only got that on 2 occasions.
Yeah.
Well, the reason for that was that to get the safety certificate, which is a complicated matter involving the local authority and the FA, we had to leave space for disabled people and the people with them in the front rows, and obviously there was something else to be done on the away end, but We've come close recently. Our average crowds are between 16 and 17,000 this year, which is marvellous.
You would know, Jeff, that's the highest average attendance since 71-72 season.
Yes. And in 71-72, about 15,000 of those people were standing.
Yep.
I'm very pleased to see the Den with so few empty seats, and I'm hoping this week will be the same. There's a special reason to come to the game, which we'll cover later. Rob, your Huddersfield story, a lot of people have picked that game purely because the atmosphere was absolutely phenomenal, wasn't it? That was the semi-final of the playoff, wasn't it, to take us to Wembley?
Yeah. It was, and when I saw the recording on telly a couple of days later, I honed in on Lee Clark, who mouthed something like, I hate this place.
Yes.
Yeah.
That has
I'll spare you the expletive.
I think that has featured on the internet, that clip. Yeah, I know what you mean. A good memory.
Miles here, Rob. You have a forthcoming history tour coming up soon with Mike George. You guys have done a good few now, but can you give us a little insight into when this will happen, what to expect, its duration, how can people buy tickets, and are there any concessions?
Yeah, I mean, this one will be, I think this will be the 8th now, and so many of them have been sellouts, which encourages us to keep going. You know, I mean, it started off 2.5 years ago now, and we always have them in the international break. So the next one is the 23rd of March. You know, so there's no football. There's no Millwall game to go to. So that kind of encourages people to come along, I guess. You know, it's the Millwall History and Heritage Walk, the first 25 years on the Isle of Dogs. And it's a historical walk which retraces the footprints of the founding players and fans around the island, covering the club's history and the area's social history in a factual but also a fun and entertaining way. So when I say the social history, we get under the skin of the Isle of Dogs a little bit. We talk about the pub culture there because it was relevant to those founding fathers of our club in 1885 because the Morton's canning factory was surrounded by pubs. You know, you couldn't leave the factory gates without seeing a pub on any corner, you know. And you know, we got a lot of ground to cover as well because 25 years in a 2.5 hour stretch, it means that we've got to get on with it. So a bit of walking, but there is the reward of a pint when we finish in the pub, former headquarters of Millwall Football Club. We do it a little bit differently now to when you did it, Jeff. We don't have the half-time break in the pub. We found that we couldn't get people out of the pub for the second half. So now we've realigned the route to finish there, and it works really well now. And we come upon that by accident, really, because the day that our legendary goalkeeper Brian King came to the event, because we had a Q&A session upstairs in the pub and some book signing. We thought we got to finish the tour that particular day at the pub. So Brian wasn't. He knew exactly what time he was due to be around. And to be fair to him, he come and done some of the walk. You know, so we finished there now, and it's because of that event that it's carried on. But when we first road tested this, it was actually a road test. It wasn't a walk. I got one of my Black Cab Heritage Tour drivers, Craig, to take me out along with Ted Wilding and Dave Sullivan and also Andrew Stead from the commercial department at the club. And getting their approval was fantastic because it meant that we could carry on and crack on with it, and that's what happened. You know, we Jeff is a high profile tourist on our walk, and we've also had George Lampy, of course, he's come along. Also, we've had in a recent tour, we had the grandson of John Tiny Joyce, who kept goal both on the island and at the Den. That was a nice touch that day. And there was another occasion when we had a guy who came all the way down from Manchester, and when I said to him afterwards, you're staying at a hotel for the weekend, he said, no, I'm going back to Manchester now. So he came down just for us that day, so we were chuffed about that as well.
Brilliant.
When you was talking about the volume of in that game in the playoff Huddersfield, right? I remember because the South London Press done a piece, and it was about what some of the newspapers had said that night, or the next day. The Daily Mail described it as one of the most powerful displays of support ever seen at a football ground. When one side of the ground finished chanting, the next side took over, and the melody continued all night. Millwall fans have a tainted history, but last night they were truly magnificent. So the Yorkshire Post went on to say the Den Home is without doubt the most intimidating arena in English football. It was just two of them, and I agree with you about the Huddersfield game. Out of a doubt, Huddersfield, that was the game. Anyway, we're getting back on track. Right, Rob, Gary Rowett's now gone and Joe Edwards is now in the driving seat. What, if anything, did Rowett leave as his legacy, and what are your impressions surrounding Joe Edwards?
Well, Gary Rowett's legacy was keeping us in this division, and I think we had 3 out of 4 seasons top our finishes, to my recollection. And, being a historian, I'm well aware of the yo-yo situation over the years, over the decades that the club has followed almost by pattern. And, well, I think this is now our 7th season back in the second tier, and, nobody has done that length of time since Benny Fenton. I think Jeff will agree with that. And so really, we our time, it should have been up. I mean, it gets harder every year to stay in this division, doesn't it? Because we've got an uneven playing field anyway. And I'm not talking about referees. We know all about them. But what I'm talking about is the parachute payments. It's how do you compete at this level consistently with the unfair situation you've got when clubs are getting relegated and being rewarded for their failure? So, we have to try and stay in this division. And I think this signing of Joe Edwards was a brave decision. It kind of is similar in some ways to when we had George Graham, but he was in a lower division, so you've always got a better chance whenever Millwall's in the third tier, whoever the manager is, that one day, 3 or 4, 5, 6 years later, you're going to get your day in the sun. But when you're in the Championship, it's a lot harder, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it's a brave choice. I think we are going to start to see a different style of football. We've got to be patient. And I'm very impressed with the 2 new signings this week. Although they're loan signings, the next transfer window will be interesting. But on the worrying side, the last week's result against QP wasn't so good, was it? It means we're just looking over our shoulders again. It's because we are 6 wins away from staving off relegation. And when I see on some social media sites people are still talking about the playoffs, I think some of these people need a psychiatrist, to be honest. But so don't see the reality of it. But 6 wins, and if we can get one on Saturday, then we're a 6th of the way there.
That's it. Yeah, perverse, that old incentive, the parachute payments. Absolutely appalling. But there you go. Yeah. That's football, and that's the Premier League. What they wanted. Anyway, before we say goodbye, can you please give us a prediction for Saturday's game against Preston North End?
And you know something, Eamonn? My prediction is always different from my head from my heart.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not. No, I'm going to go for 2-0, a goal in each half. It's not an easy one to predict because we're very inconsistent. We've just lost 3 matches on the bounce after winning 3 or 4 matches on the bounce. So
yeah.
Let's stop the rot first and hopefully get back to winning ways.
Yeah, Let's be hopeful, as they say. Anyway, thanks for that, Rob. We will promote the history tour, and maybe you can convince a participant to come on and give us a Trek Advisor report. Beyond that, hopefully we can get you back next season to share your thoughts again, and hopefully about how we managed to stay in the Championship. But until the next time, all the best to you and yours. Bye, Rob.
Yeah, thanks, Eamonn. Thanks for inviting me on. And thanks, Myles, Stan, Jeff.
Cheers. See you later, Rob.
Take care.
Good night, Rob. Good night. Have a great
Good night,
tour.
all.
Yeah, ta-da, mate. Bye. Yeah, there you go. There's old Rob Woodford. Nice good person to listen to. Quite interesting. Got a good brain. And certainly, as far as Jeff's concerned, he's their leading Trustpilot supported view that's on the site, Eventbrite. So there you go. There's
I didn't know that. I never got paid for that.
plaudits all around for Jeff tonight. Hello, son. All of that. And a bit more Maritime Radio and Trustpilot. Anyway, we'll take a break there and listen to... I'm going to say this slowly because there's someone on here that would want to say something. Listen to Harvey Brown talking Lions Food Hub. All right, he's not going to say something.
Hi, Harvey Brown here. I am proud of the Lions Food Hub, which is jointly owned by Kelly and Ellen Webster, and they have been supporting families within our community for over 2 years on Millwall match days. If you would like to donate to them, they have a match day donation hub by the SE16 bar at Coldblow Lane, end of the ground, where they accept any food or money and toiletry donations. If you can help, any donations will be received with thanks.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes a Talking team of Jeff Burnige, Myles Thornton and Stan Godwin. Kelly and the team are always looking for donations, so if you want to help, they will be at the hub positioned opposite the Blue Bus on Saturday. Kelly Webster has asked us to ask our listeners and our team to donate the following items in particular on the hub this Saturday. Any cereal, tinned meat, tinned vegetables, tinned fruit, any soup, washing detergent and sanitary products. Kelly thanks you all in advance, no matter who you are. Don't forget, financial donations and any other items will still be gratefully received. We're all looking forward to the next game, but in the meantime, here are a few matters of interest for Millwall fans.
Millwall host Preston North End on Saturday, the 27th of January, this weekend, and the match will see an interesting occasion. It's the annual Memorial Day, when we remember all Lions, players, fans, staff who passed away in the previous year. Ahead of the Memorial Day, within the stadium, focus will be on Millwall's new address. It's no longer Millwall FC Zampa Road, it's Millwall FC The Den, John Berylson Way, London SE16 3LN. Fittingly, Chairman James Berylson, John's son, will be in attendance and will lead an unveiling ceremony at the new road sign at 1:30 p.m, which supporters are invited to attend. This will take place outside the main entrance to the car park, where a wall has been built adorned with the club's new address. The club have publicly thanked the Millwall Supporters Club, who have been of considerable help with the costs of this project, with monies generated from their JGB commemorative badge sales last summer, which has been added to the John Berylson Legacy Fund. James said, "On behalf of my family, I would like to thank everybody who has contributed to the change of road name. As I've said in the past, my dad absolutely adored Millwall, the fans, the staff, and all those associated with the club, and to have his name on road signs outside the Den and in the address is a very moving thing for my family and I. It is something he would have been immeasurably proud of. We are very grateful to the Supporters Club for coordinating the funding around this, and of course the fans who have contributed to raising that money. I look forward to seeing as many of you as possible at the unveiling ceremony on Saturday. Additionally, it's worthy to note the tremendous assistance given by Lewisham and Southwark councils in making this name change happen, and the support given by fans is also requesting this change to the respective councils. The Memorial Day will then see the Lions honour all supporters sadly lost in 2023, as I said earlier, by way of a minute's applause as their names are shown on the stadium's big screen before the action gets underway. The list of names will also be available to view in Millwall's online digital match pack and on the Lions' official X, formerly Twitter account, Millwall FC. On the day, that will happen. No more submissions of names can now be taken because the screen has been prepared. Additionally, your Saturday Matchday Memorial programme will be available outside the Coldblow Lane gate and by the Millwall Cafe. Still only £1. Amazing publication done by Millwall-loving fans.
Next week, Eamonn will host our team of Gary, Dave and me once again, along with a couple of guests. Also, don't forget Millwall Lionesses are back in league action away to Ashford. Women on Sunday at 3:15pm kickoff at the Homelands Stadium, Ashford, TN26 1NJ. Get down there and give our Lionesses the backing they deserve. Additionally, Joe Wright has joined Galway United on a permanent deal. The one-time regular goalkeeper for Kevin Nugent's under-21s Millwall side now leaves SC16 to join the Airtricity League of Ireland Men's Premier Division side. Galway get their new campaign underway next month. All the best, Joe.
Have you walked the walk yet? You heard Rob Woodford invite you to do so during the next international break on my birthday, Saturday the 23rd of March 2024, 11 till 2 from West India Quay DLR station. Come and join Rob and Mike on their 8th Out of the Blue event, a special trip back in time to discover all of the key highlights of our famous old football club's early existence on the Isle of Dogs, 1885 to 1910. Discover the very place where we were founded, the pub culture instilled from day one, the workplaces of our fan base, our club headquarters, plus 4 sites of our very first football grounds in that 25-year time space before we moved across the river. This is a history and heritage tour which explores Millwall's life on the Isle of Dogs, the early days, the rapid progress, the highs and lows of the once leading light in London football. Learn how an amazing FA Cup run led to our old nickname, Dockers, would lead to us being known as the Lions. The Isle of Dogs has an interesting history to which is interwoven into the very fabric of our DNA. You will hear some myths debunked, some fewer known secrets, plus plenty of amusing anecdotes to keep you smiling. At the end of the tour, they'll go to a pub, which was their previous HQ, and have a quiz with prizes, which is always great fun. Anyone who walks the walk will also receive a souvenir booklet. We shall endeavour to provide you with both a memorable London tour experience, but also a unique insight into the history and heritage of Millwall Football Club. For tickets, go to eventbrite.co.uk and search for Millwall History and Heritage Tour. I'll say that again. For tickets, go to eventbrite.co.uk and search for Millwall History and Heritage Tour. Tickets are priced at £12.
Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking team bring reports from our games, both home and away, for both the Lions and the Lionesses. In fact, Myles here reports on the Lions games and Jeff reports on the Lionesses. And also updates on Millwall Community Matters too on Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM. Additionally, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, X, social media sites, and all popular podcast sites. That's it from me. Thanks, Jeff.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Myles.
Thanks, Eamon. Good night, everyone.
And last but not least, thanks, Stan.
Yeah, thanks, Eamon. Yeah, and good night, everyone.
And thank you all for listening. Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Good night. Our Millwall Fan Show is sponsored by G&M Motors of Gravesend, Honda dealers and much more. Thank you.